Welcome to Hitting the Field. I'm your host, Eric Scott. Joining me on the set is Joshua Thicklin and Rachel White. The American Athletic Conference Tournament is making its way to Orlando this year. Guys, who do you think are the favorites to come out on top in the AAC?
Well, I think this year the AAC is really interesting. That's because SMU is still in the fold. Not because they can make the actual tournament or anything like that, but it's just, I think the fact that they're even in it, I just feel like it's pointless, They're clearly the best team in the conference to me, but they just can't do it. But for me, the favorite right now is between Temple and Cincinnati. I think Temple does, they've been playing at an elite level. They're right now the conference leader. But there are some times where I feel like they do kind of show some weaknesses, typically inside. And, even we see them, they have a lot of upset potential. There's certain teams that, like, on certain nights, that any team can beat them. And when you're really an elite team, you don't have that same presence. Like, you really carry yourself, and you don't feel like some of the lower teams can beat them. I think they're kind of poised for an upset a little bit.
Well, I think that's a great point you made about Temple. Just recently, UCF almost upset them, after being really inconsistent for several games. So I think you make a great point. I think another team we need to look at is Tulsa. They've also been very consistent so far this year, doing a great job, really one of those top teams. But I think that really anything can happen here. I mean, Josh Pastner for Memphis, he did a press conference here when they played UCF, and he said, the conference looks pretty wide open this year. I can see anybody making a run. And so far, I don't see anything to discredit that. With SMU out of the picture, it really does open the door to really anybody in the conference to step up.
And guys, and we're looking at teams like Tulsa and Temple. In the end, how many teams do you guys think come out and get to the NCAA tournament?
See that the AAC is very interesting. I feel like they have a lot of bubble tournament teams, more or less. I think Temple will make it. I think that Houston can possibly make it, or Cincinnati. I think right now, if I had to put my money on who's going to make the tournament from the AAC, Temple, Cincinnati, Houston. I think, of course, you have some long-time favorites. You have UConn. You have Memphis, who have long traditions. And for that, these guys are kind of dark horses heading into this tournament to probably steal away a tournament slot that they may not have guaranteed to them at the end of the season. I think Memphis is definitely one of those teams. Like, when you see Shaq and the way he plays, the way he carries himself, that veteran presence on that team, that's what tournaments are for. And usually teams like that shine. We saw UConn do it before, win the AAC tournament, and then end up going to win a national title, even though they weren't the best in the conference that year. So it wouldn't be the first time we've seen it.
I mean, that's like what you said. We may not get a ton of teams in there, but whatever team is hot enough at the right time to come to Orlando and win that tournament could make some noise in the NCAA tournament. I think that's what makes the American Conference so interesting to watch this year, and what's going to make the Amway Center an interesting place to be here coming up.
In the interesting conversations, we look at our local team, the UCF, and how they've been very inconsistent, and they dropped off defensively in the last couple of games, and really for a long stretch here after the winter break. Josh, Rachel, is there any chance that the UCF basketball team can get into the AAC tournament far deep into it and win it?
I think that on my nickname for UCF, underdogs continue fighting. But in this case, it's like, when we say inconsistent, that's being nice. They've lost 7 straight. They have the biggest losing streak in the conference. I think, though, their last game against Temple did give me hope. If they could play at that level, if they really could play at that level, they could upset somebody in the tournament. We've seen them in the tournament in tournaments in the past. They've rivaled top-seeded teams and given them close games to fight. But they're not consistent. It's just simple in fact. You can't come into this tournament as an underdog. It's different even from the women's team that are coming into their AAC tournament hot. They're not coming off hot, and I think that's a really big problem for UCF basketball.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The problem with UCF basketball has been this year, they've definitely beat those teams at the bottom of the conference. East Carolina, USF, haven't struggled too much against those teams. But when it comes time to face these middle of the conference teams and even the top of the conference, they've usually struggled to get much going offensively at all. So I think that's what makes it tricky to really predict some kind of a deep conference tournament run for them. I do think they have the potential to win a couple games. It is here in Orlando. That's certainly not going to hurt them, but I don't really see them right now with, not having B.J. Taylor this season. They really lack that cohesiveness and that leadership. That's really what you need in a conference run.
Josh, does the UCF basketball team get out of the first round of the AAC tournament?
I'm an optimist, so I will say yes. I think they can. I think they can have enough to put together one really good run. Because when we see them, when things are clicking, when Adonis is hitting, AJ Davis has been really if I had a team MVP for the season, it would be AJ. And I think his leadership and his presence, anything is possible. But once again, UCF has to have a hot shooting night for them to pass the first round.
Well, you be the idealist, I'll be the realist. It's just too much inconsistency. We saw UConn came to town, Memphis came to town, and just completely shut UCF down, and I wouldn't be surprised at all, unfortunately, if that's what happens day one of the tournament.
Yeah, the reality is UCF men's basketball team is going to face a tough challenge in the first round of the AAC tournament. When we get back, Daniel Bird will join us on set. We're going to talk hockey and the state of the Florida teams. Stay with us.
DC Comics brand new superhero collection. Oh no! Central City is under attack from Captain Cold. Luckily, the Flash is here to stop him. Captain Cold is no match for the Flash. The Green Arrow needs the Flash's help. The evil Deathstroke is trying to take over the city. The Green Arrow and Black Canary are here to stop him. Deathstroke is too strong to beat alone. With teamwork, they can defeat Deathstroke once and for all. Our heroes have saved the city. DC Comics Superhero Collection. Each figure sold separately.
Tonight on Deals After Dark. When I think of quality sunglasses, I think of boldness, but simplicity. And nothing provides both of those more than this set. Tonight, we have a pair of beautiful used matte black Oakley Holbrook sunglasses. These glasses offer an American frame accented with metal rivets and Oakley icons, perfect for buyers seeking performance and style. And do we have a deal for you guys tonight? For the next 40 seconds, that's right, 40 seconds, you have a chance to get your hands on this exclusive featured price of $110 or best offer. This deal, usually only available on Craigslist, could be yours for the 8 super easy payments of $13.75. Wow, I'm now hearing that we've actually gone down to one single pair. So if you're interested in this deal or any other products from our program, you can always log on to dealsafterdark.com or call us at 1-800-555-DEAL.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. Daniel Bird now joins us on set, and we're talking hockey in Florida. The Panthers and Lightning have been hot as of late. And guys, what are some of the things you're looking at as the Panthers and Lightning get close to the postseason?
Well, for me, I'm definitely focused more on the Lightning, as the Panthers aren't usually in this type of position, fighting for a playoff berth.
Okay, hang on my team. That's okay.
And the Lightning have been super hot lately. Finally figured out that scoring drought that was really, plaguing them early on in the season. And the most important thing about hockey in the playoffs is not to necessarily be, the top seed, although both teams are fighting for that right now, but it's who's hot going in and who has that playoff experience. And obviously the Tampa Bay Lightning are checking off both those boxes for me right now.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you don't have to be the number one seed to make a deep run into the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I like where the Florida Panthers are, the team that I think is the best team in the state right now. Tampa Bay they've been the better team over the past few seasons, but this season you have Jaromir Jagr for the Panthers, Alexander Barkov, they're both scoring goals. And in the NHL, when you get to the playoffs, you're playing the best of the best in the league. You're gonna give up goals. So defensively, defense does not take as much precedence as scoring. And I think the Panthers, they're putting in goals, a plus 25 goal differential. That's the side of the game where they excel, and I think that's why it's going to get them into the playoffs as the 1 seed coming out of the Atlantic Division. And I think they'll make a deeper run than the Lightning will. I think the Lightning have too many problems.
Rachel, does the Lightning get back to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I don't know if I'd go that far. I just think they're more poised for a deeper run than the Panthers. They've got that experience. They have that sour taste in their mouth for making it all the way, but just falling just short. But that playoff experience is going to help them. And obviously, they got a lot of people playing the right way right now. Stamkos and Kucherov are on fire right now for the Lightning. And I just don't know if that's really a team you want to bet against going ahead in the playoffs.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think if you take Stamkos off that team, Kucherov, he's a good player, but I think too much of the offense, too much of the team is focused on Steven Stamkos. I think the Panthers, they spread the goals around a little better. Defensively as well, they're a little better, even though, like I said, goal scoring is more important than playing defense, I believe, in the NHL. And I think in terms of who's in the net, I think Bishop is a quality goaltender, but I think the duo of Luongo and Montoya for the Panthers can outplay Bishop in net.
And what are some of the teams you guys are looking at coming out of the state of Florida, Chicago Blackhawks particularly? Are they good enough to get back to the NHL Stanley Cup Finals?
I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, obviously, over the last 5-6 years, they've been the best team in the NHL. You know, a little up and down every now and then, but they're certainly firing all cylinders right now. Jonathan Toews having another great season. Patrick Kane as good as always. And I just really think like that team chemistry and the experience and everything from the Blackhawks, again, makes them one of the favorites to win the Cup.
You know, I think the Blackhawks is a very safe pick for Miss White over there. I think that, hey, every year, I mean, they're close. I don't think you can call the
Patrick Kane's
Blackhawks
the best player in the NHL right now.
You can't call the Blackhawks a dynasty, but they're pretty close. I mean, every time you look up, it looks like they're raising the cup.
Yeah.
I like the Anaheim Ducks, coming out of California. Before the All-Star break, this team was dead in the water, maybe the 8th seed, 7th seed in the playoffs. They have been hot as of late, and they're scoring goals, and I think that they could rival the Stars or the Blackhawks once the playoffs roll around. I think they're a team to watch out for sure.
And Daniel, you're not hot on the Washington Capitals right now.
You know, I don't. They have 90 points right now. They are by far the best team in the NHL. I think at this point, without doubt. But they always choke in the playoffs. Alexander Ovechkin can't do it once he gets into the postseason.
I agree, and the Blackhawks just took them down just recently in a game that showed that they were definitely the more prepared team for that game. So Washington is just, I agree. I think that they're very vulnerable, and I wouldn't pick them to make
I think
a deep run.
there's so much pressure on Ovechkin to produce, and sometimes he is an amazing talent and has been for close to a decade now. I just don't know if they have enough to get them over the hump and finally make it to the finals. I mean, we're talking about a team that they don't even consistently make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, let alone the Cup Finals. I just don't think they have it this year, just like in years past.
I agree. I mean, you were saying how Stamkos is a little bit too much of the offense for Tampa Bay, but Ovechkin is the same way for Washington.
No doubt.
If you ask
Yes.
an average hockey fan who else plays for the Capitals besides Ovechkin, they're not coming up with anything. So I think they're too one-dimensional. These other teams, we can talk about different players contributing, but for Washington, it's just they're too reliant on him, and I don't see it going anywhere.
I think the biggest conversation is we look at the NHL and we look at these players that teams rely heavily on. And we look straight to Chicago Blackhawks and Patrick Kane, and he's done it all for them, scoring goals, assisting, getting points through games. There was a point early in the season where he had accumulated points in 21 straight games. So we're talking about it's not such a problem for these teams to rely heavily on them because they're not being stopped.
Right.
In Ovechkin, Patrick Kane, Stamkos, whoever you want to talk about, these guys are performing this year.
It's true. If they can carry the team to the finish line, then that's one thing. But like I said, the NHL playoffs are ridiculously long. It's not like the baseball playoffs where you have a 5-game series, then you get to the 7-game series in the World Series. You're going 7 games, and these series go deep.
And they
a lot
go
of
to
times.
7 almost
You
every
do
single
not
time.
see
Sweep, no.
4-game sweeps, right?
Right.
And I don't think like a Stamkos, an Ovechkin, or a Kane. I think Kane of them can rely on his team a little bit more, but I don't think that Stamkos or Ovechkin could carry the load.
It will be interesting to see how these Florida teams do when it comes to the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Connor Engelhart and Daniel Burr will stay with us on set. We're going to talk about the PGA Tour and looking forward to the Masters. Stay with us.
Experience the sea, art, lifestyle, travel. This is Seek to See More.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. Connor Engelhart now joins us on set. And we're talking about the PGA Tour. Connor, I'm going to start with you specifically. Which players have been the most consistent?
Consistent so far this season? I mean, you got people, I know Daniel wants to do this earlier, but Kevin Kisner's been consistent.
Absolutely.
Okay, but people who I've been most impressed by so far this season are like Adam Scott. He had to switch putters after the belly putter is completely banned now from the PGA Tour. He just won at the Honda Classic. He finished second in the Northern Trust Open where Bubba Watson defeated him, who has also been very impressive so far this season, but I definitely have to go with Adam Scott as my most impressive. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned Kevin Kisner, second in the FedEx Cup standings, 69 average this season on tour, 20th in the rankings. Unless you are really into golf, you haven't heard of Kevin Kisner before this season. Right. This man is playing on fire.
That's not true. He was in the playoff last year, the players.
Okay. It's a wraparound season, so it'll be late 2015, early 2016. Until then, again, if you're not a serious golfer, you still haven't heard of Kevin Kisner. And again, if you go back, he reminds me of Jimmy Walker from a couple years ago. This guy who no one's ever heard of.
You mean Jimmy Fowler?
No,
Did you hear about that?
Yeah. It threw him off. The 79 on Saturday for Jimmy Walker. Yeah, but again, a guy not a whole lot of people have heard of, who's kind of come on the scene. And can he make one of the teams out of the Ryder Cup, President's Cup? Will he be around for that? I know the U.S. we'll take whoever we can at this point. Mm-hmm. So I think Kevin Kisner is someone to watch out for as this season progresses.
And guys, something I want to talk about specifically is this Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy conversation. Listen, it's a big year for both of these players. Jordan Spieth, can he continue that continued success that he had in 2015? And Rory McIlroy, can he get back to that form that he was a couple years ago? Rory McIlroy didn't make the cut this past weekend, and it was not too long ago. Jordan Spieth shot a 79 at Rivera. Connor, what does he need to do to get ready for the Masters?
Well, I don't think either of them are really going to be worrying about what's happening now as they will be when it comes time for the Masters.
Not even Rory?
No, because I think Rory McIlroy, he played in Dubai, he played really good out there. That's the thing. When we're in America so focused on the PGA Tour, we don't realize about the European Tour and all the other, the Asian Tour. These players go overseas and they still play well against tough competition as well. But I think both these players will play good at the Masters, but Rory McIlroy specifically at the Masters, I'm more focused on than Jordan Spieth because Jordan Spieth has already won the Masters. Rory McIlroy, he definitely needs to win to finish the,
Yeah,
title.
I agree. I think McIlroy, there's definitely more pressure on him. I mean, this was the #1 player in the world by a long shot not too long ago, and now here comes Spieth storming onto the scene, takes the #1 spot. McIlroy drops down to third, and one worldwide tour. He did win in Dubai. One win since June, though, for McIlroy. That's unheard of for him in his short time being a superstar. I think Jordan Spieth, even if he doesn't win a major this year, he's so young that it's 1 year off. It's right. It's so hard to win a major. Missing 1 year is fine. I think he can still. I'm not going to say right now he can rival Nicklaus's 18 major or anything like that, but I think we definitely will see Spieth win more majors. It's a huge year for McIlroy.
I don't know, though, but I think somebody like Ricky Fowler, I think this is the year that Fowler wins a major because he's been winning all these big tournaments. He won the Players last year, and he's really been impressing me. And the composure he has, even though he did struggle a bit at the Honda Classic when he had the lead, he's just been playing so well lately, if you ask me.
I feel like whoever in the Florida swing, I mean, you have the Honda, Doral, you go up to Innisbrook, it sets you up for a big run, I think, going into April. You still have the Shell Houston in Texas, of course, before the Masters, but I think the Florida swing sets you up. If you win, like Adam Scott did, it gives you so much confidence going into that first major, and I think that's all. You need confidence to go play Augusta, I believe.
And the final conversation, Tiger Woods, and that we saw this past week, him swinging into his home and we're working on that 9-iron, and there's been reports that he's been working on the driver at this point. Connor, do you think we see him in this 2016 season?
I mean, I think we'll see him in the season. The big question is if we will see him in time for the Masters because everybody in the world wants to see Tiger Woods at the Masters. The ratings are completely higher with Tiger in any tournament, but at the Masters alone, I remember the year, I believe it was 2013, where he hit the flagstick and it rolled back in the water. Tiger was in contention, but I don't think he'll win at all this year. He hasn't won since 2013, but it would be great to see Tiger back out on the golf course.
There's a huge difference from swinging your 9-iron in your house to going out there and playing not just 18 holes, but 18 holes 4 straight days.
Right.
I think Tiger, at this point in his career, I want to see Tiger out there. I think everyone wants to see Tiger out there. Take your time. Get back out there when you feel comfortable. We've seen him, this would be the comeback number 4, it feels like, from back surgery, knee problems, whatever, and he hasn't gotten back to that point where he was elite. He needs to take his time, and whenever that is, that's fine. I don't think he'll be back for the Masters. Maybe in time for the Open at Troon this summer, possibly, but I don't think any time before then, definitely not.
Quickly, I want your Masters pick.
Masters pick. I'm going to go Bubba. I like the way he knows the way around the course. Already a win this season.
Conservative.
I feel like
That's conservative.
I know, but I think he's got it.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Ricky Fowler. Even though Fowler, he's never really performed to his topness at the Masters, I do think when Ricky Fowler goes to Augusta this year, I think he's going to be in the zone. And also, I think Adam Scott has a chance as well because he's won there before, and now he's got the putter. He hits the greens in regulations, but if he just makes some putts, Adam Scott's definitely in contention.
My pick is Adam Scott to win the Masters this year. Listen, when he's putting, he's one of the best players. He's always consistent, right down the fairway, like we were talking about earlier.
You have to putt. You have to do it. I mean, 1 week's great, but you got to be able to follow up with a couple more good
we
weeks.
cannot wait for the Masters and what to come for the majors this year. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the UEFA Champions League. Troy Kless and Ben Sanders will join me on set.
Central Florida is the perfect place to study, earn a degree, and of course, to enjoy everything that Central Florida has to offer.
From theme parks to dinner shows and, of course, the movies, Orlando offers many unique and exciting activities to do. However, we all know that a ticket to any of these attractions can be expensive, especially on a college student budget.
UCF Student Government Association has the nights covered with the SGA Ticket Center.
Located at the heart of campus inside Student Union, SGA Ticket Center offers tickets at a special discounted price to UCF students, faculty, and staff.
Not only do they have discounted tickets for theme parks, but they also have discounted tickets for other attractions like Blue Man Group, Pirates Dinner Adventure, and Kennedy Space Center.
Save your money and experience all Orlando has to offer.
For more information, you can visit their website.
Dangerous driving extends beyond just speeding, especially in the rain where light usage can be the most dangerous thing you do. This high-performance sports car might be able to handle tight corners in the rain, but if the driver can't see drivers around him, it just doesn't matter. Driving with your hazard lights on is illegal in the state of Florida, regardless of weather conditions. Hazard lights are only to be used while stopped on the side of the road. It makes it easier for emergency services to distinguish cars stopped on the shoulder. Not driving with your hazards on also makes turn signals clearly visible, along with brake lights. Increasing the visibility of your car in the rain will make your trips infinitely safer. And of course, remember that speed is the most important thing you can control while driving in severe weather. Speed and low grip are a deadly combination at any level of driver skill. For more information, visit your local Florida Department of Transportation office or the website shown below. Control the roads and enjoy the journey.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. Troy Kless and Ben Sanders now join me here on set, and we're talking Champions League. Guys, Arsenal in big trouble now against Barcelona after their first leg performance, now down 2-0 in aggregate. Troy, does Arsenal suffer any chance to get back into the round?
They have zero chance of going through, honestly. I mean, you saw they were, they didn't necessarily tear apart Arsenal. It was a really kind of drawn-out game. And Arsenal, we give them credit. They were able to hang in there for 70 minutes. They had some chances, yeah, definitely. And, they did expose some of, the small frailties in the Barcelona backline. Sometimes, they get too many guys forward. They'll be able to catch them on the counterattack. But, Ter Stegen had a great game, and, he's going to be, he's been solid, throughout the campaign. So, honestly, in the Camp Nou, when Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, you're going to give them, after 15 minutes, I think, once they click, it's going to be over. There's no chance.
I mean, I'd like to be an optimist and say Arsenal's got a great chance. I think they've got a chance at the Premier League, but I'd take Messi, Suarez, and Neymar and 8 planks of wood, and they'd beat Arsenal at home. Like they've got no chance. If the second Suarez or Messi or Neymar, or even off a corner, even if Piqué comes down the back and gets a header or Busquets or something, the tie's going to be over, and Arsenal just have to go into damage protection mode to take a decent result back and maybe keep some players. They take them off early and keep them fit for the Premier League coming up.
Yeah, but they just, like we said, we've always seen. It's almost kind of a trend, in the first 15 minutes of any game you play against Barcelona. It's, they take some time to adjust. So we saw it, a couple games ago when they were playing Sevilla. They were able to, expose the flaws of Alex Vidal when they were pushing up high, and they were able to score quickly. And even though Barca still were able to get back and win that game, you can see those are some of the things that Arsenal, they have to take advantage of. Otherwise, they're going to be crashing out.
Well, Ben, I don't think Arsenal's dead and done right now. They are down 2-0 in aggregate, but if they can sit in, Messi and Suarez and Neymar, they're going to go after it to get that third goal and really end this Champions League round. I think if Arsenal can sit in and defend and try to beat them on the counterattack, like Troy mentioned, they're vulnerable to defensively when they get up too many numbers high. So if you're an Arsenal fan, where's the hope going to come from? Is it Ozil? Is it Walcott? Where's the hope going to come from? Where's that first goal going to come from?
It's got to be Ozil and Ramsey finding those little pockets of space to let, if it's going to be Joel Campbell and Walcott, or I guess Oxlade-Chamberlain's out now, so it's got to be those two hitting the wings with pace and scaring the Jordi Alba and Alex Vidal and Dani Alves into a mistake. Because if they get good service into the box, because they're not going to play up and around the box, that little flick football they do in the Premier League, because Barcelona are too good, and then just put it on Giroud's forehead. Giroud will get it on target. Will he get all of them on target? No, but he'll get a deflection. Maybe he'll use that height and that strength he has to get over PK. And Javi Mascherano's not very tall.
Right. No, he's not very tall, but they're still very solid. And like you said, you have Gerard Piqué there as well, and you have guys like Sergio Busquets, and even the whole back line, is pretty solid. So I think they'll be fine.
And looking at another round, you're looking at the games between Bayern Munich versus Juventus in a 2-2 aggregate now. Juventus has really set themselves up to get through to the next round, and they do have a great chance now to take it away from Bayern Munich, a favorite in the Champions League. Troy, what does Juventus need to do to get to the next round?
They've done a lot of these things already. Is just sit down and bunker down defensively, because Bayern Munich, playing in the Allianz Arena, they're going to hit them hard on the wings, with Douglas Costa, Thomas Mueller, and, they're going to be able to feed in guys like Robert Lewandowski, just a monster in the box. So, but, guys like Giorgio Chiellini, and I trust Gigi Buffon in goal, honestly. So, if they get maybe one goal at least through guys like Morata and Paulo Dybala, who have been fantastic throughout the year for Juventus, then that might just be enough.
These are the two most even teams I've got to think in this round of ties. You could flip a coin and it come out as Bayern or Juventus. It really doesn't matter. But the reason why I want to go with Bayern, I think generally they've got better firepower. Yes, they've got some injuries at the back, and Dybala's going to be coming at them, and like you said. But you got Douglas Costa on the wing. You've got Thomas Mueller, who he doesn't miss inside of the from 12 yards on, and that's exactly where he's going to be. Robert Lewandowski's always in the right place at the right time. He makes defenders look shambolic at times. So I've got to really think that pace on the wings, and then the clinicalness through the middle.
Are they going to beat a guy like Giorgio Chiellini, who's had so much experience on that back line in the leadership, the organization that they have back there? They might be able to hold off that attacking force. They were able to do that against Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale last year in the semifinals of the Champions League, and in that environment as well in the Bernabeu. This is almost even tougher venue here. But I don't know. I think I still see a good chance for Juventus to make it through.
Paul Pogba has not been consistent for Juventus as of late, but Cuadrado has been an excellent player in the out wide for Juventus. It's going to be interesting as they look at the second leg of the game against Bayern Munich. That's all the time we have today for Hitting the Field. Please follow us on our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube page. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.